appreciate it. All right, what's going on Facebook, YouTube? What's happening? What's cracking? We're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Since 1969, we've been teaching the truth that also called Blacks, Latinos, and First Nations are the Israelites, are the chosen people of God. If you have the privilege, you're the privilege of listening to this broadcast. This broadcast is sponsored by the like button. Smash the like button. Smash it. Smash the like button. All right. Shari one, send me the link when you have it. We have a myriad of topics to go over today in class. I did want to touch on the, I don't know if anyone heard about it, but I think it was big. The Logan Paul thing. Did you hear about that?
I heard someone talking about it, but I didn't.
Yeah, bro. Logan Paul is marrying Nina Aggal. Nina Aggal is the most public harlot I've seen in recent memory. You know, this woman has been out with all of Hollywood, the pool boy, not Denzel, but Justin Bieber, the shark guy, Shark Tank dude, whatever his name is, Leonardo DiCaprio, and the dude Dylan Dennis is fighting Logan Paul and shared like all of every picture that she's ever had with any dude she's been in a relationship with. He has, and he's like sharing it on his Twitter. It is horrible.
Yeah,
it is hard. It's like 100 racks.
Good, nice.
100 racks, bro. And the issue is that this is being posted on social media. And what I hope that did is I hope that incident with Logan Paul showed everyone how disgusting it truly is to be a harlot, to be a woman that's out here on the streets, to not be a woman that wants to get locked down by one man. Right. You know, Logan Paul is down in the dumps. Logan Paul is dejected and defeated. And you know what's worse? There's an audio. Give me that. There shall be no harlot amongst the daughters of Zion. Give me the Deuteronomy 23:17. What's worse about this is that there's an audio where she's saying that she makes him wait. So Leonardo DiCaprio and everybody in Hollywood is getting to touch her, is getting all of her goods, is getting to dive into her box, is getting to get onto the diving board and the dismount. Diving board sound, drop in with a splash. Everybody else is getting to freeform dive into this broad, but she's telling Logan Paul to his face that he has to wait. Okay? That he has to wait. All right? We got people in the live. I'm going to invite people into the live too. All right? If we got to cut people from the live, do you know how to do that? AMZ, man, you got a question? We're the Hebrew Israelites, teach the truth according to the Bible. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the Jews according to the Bible. We're going into the Dylan Dennis. I don't know what that is. Dylan Dennis and the Logan Paul story. The Dylan Dennis and the Logan Paul story to show, illustrate to women how vile it is to be whores and how that never really leaves you. It's very, very hard to clean that up. What's your take on that? Do you love these hoes or what? All right. Yeah. What's going on, man? Speak. Rocky Alley, remove this cat. Anyway, so we're going to get into it. Give me a Deuteronomy 23:1, 23:17. Rocky Alley, I need you on this phone. All right.
Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 17. There shall be no.
I don't know what the match is, but I know what a match is. Is that remove him? Remove him. All right, read it again.
There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel.
No. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel. No whore of the daughters of Israel. Continue.
Nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
Nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel. Here's why. Because it destroys the society. It destroys the society from the inside out. You just started doing. Destroys the society from inside out. Because now you have fights.
Don't accept the guests.
Huh?
Don't accept the
Yeah,
guests.
I know that now. You'll have fights. You'll have strife. You'll have, points of embarrassment, points of shame because of a woman's past that can be brought up. We, of course, know in the truth that once a woman comes in here, she's brand new. But that is still something that would be very hard for most men to overcome. You know what I mean? Logan Paul, I'll put it this way. He's stronger than I am, Brachiala. He's stronger than I am. She'd be served her walking papers.
Right.
That's what she'd be served, okay? And bidden the good riddance. Okay, so read that again.
Now come. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel.
There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel. Hopefully we saw that and thought to ourselves, hopefully so-called Black and Latino women, First Nation women as well, saw that and looked to themselves, hey, maybe this isn't a good lifestyle.
You can accept guests, but not hosts.
Okay. Appreciate you. Maybe this isn't a good lifestyle to partake in. Maybe this isn't something that I should do. Once again, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. Make sure you smash the like button, share with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. All right. So that's pretty much it on that. Women should see that the whole Dylan Dennis and Logan Paul debacle, and the lesson that they should learn from it is as follows. They should learn that the acts that they commit in the past do follow them. It does follow them, and it is only through the Most High's grace that anyone on the earth would take you seriously with that type of a past. It is only through the Most High's grace, okay? Only. And even in here, me personally, I would definitely have a problem with it. I definitely have a problem with that my woman is our woman, was for the community, because the issue is, I understand she can change her life and become brand new, but what you got to understand is that that temptation is going to be there because it's what she's done. It's like if you've been an addict, a drug addict, you know this. Those of you that have struggled through that, if you've struggled through being a drug addict, you know that that's something you're going to struggle with for the rest of your life, and it's going to be a fight. Sometimes it's going to be harder than others. A woman that has had a mile of yardstick is going to have to fight that for the rest of her life, more than likely, and it is going to be a battle. So what I would have the brothers do is be cognizant of that and weigh that heavily into consideration. And that's not to say that women who have had less experience, quote unquote, can't snake you, but it's statistically speaking, is less likely. But what needs to happen is she needs to follow your program. You know what I mean? But in any event, Logan Paul is down in the dumps. This should be a sign to Black, Latina, First Nation women not to be a harlot, not to be running the streets fast and loose, not to have a hoe phase, because that's what they call it. Right. That hoe phase follows you. Those pictures from a Freaknik, you had a 40-year-old Black woman. You had half the nursing staff of Atlanta sweating, shaking in their Ugg boots, shaking in their high heel platforms, because the Freaknik pictures were about to get posted back out of men prodding in every orifice of your body on the streets of Atlanta in the 90s. That can still come out, man. All right. And the other myth is that the hoe phase never leaves a woman. Doesn't leave. They just get older. Okay. There is no phase. That's not true. Well, I was in a drug addict phase, but now I'm not. No, the only way that ends is if you end it. If it's a phase, then who's to say the phase couldn't come back? Right. Because the phase or the flow of a wave, which is where phase comes from in some context, it ebbs and flows. So who knows whether we'll hit valleys or troughs when I piss you off? Brock, I'm gonna get Brock Yalla first. Go ahead. STD, some of these STDs stay too. Gonorrhea doesn't give a damn about penicillin nowadays. Some strains. So yeah, these things stay with you. Black woman, Latina, First Nation. Go ahead, Zabaja.
Bell bottoms are coming back, sir. So the bell bottoms are coming back. Our whole phase is coming back. Sir.
Oh boy, bell bottoms is coming. See, yeah, styles are circular, and generally human behavior and patterns are circular as well. So that's it on that. Let's get questions in the room. Questions online. If you're on TikTok, you are hearing from the prophets of God. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, you're hearing from the prophets, the priests of God, operating in their office as they have always done. Type in your questions. This class is sponsored by the like button. Smash the like button. This class is also sponsored by the share button. Share it. Comment below, what have you. All right. Back in the day, you used to watch YouTube. All right. Get back into it. All right, user. To whoever said that on TikTok. Get back into the mix. All right. Questions in the room. Questions online. Let's have them.
I have a question.
Yep.
I was going to general breakdown on 2nd Ezra chapter 2, verse 18.
All right, let's get it. 2nd Ezra 2 and 18.
You want me to read it, sir?
Yes.
Second Ezra chapter 2, verse 18. For that help will I send my servants Esau and Jeremiah and Jeremy, after whose counsel I have sanctified and prepared for thee 12 trees laden with diverse fruits.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same Esau as I said, the oppressor? Or?
No, absolutely not. Nor does it say Esau. It says Isai. And so I believe that's the Greek version of Isaiah and Jeremiah. Isaiah and Jeremiah were one of the two major prophets. When you look at the major and minor prophets, right? There are 12. There's a set of prophets who are listed or termed as the major prophets, and there's a set of prophets that are listed as quote unquote the minor prophets. The major prophets were men that you would call today the school or camp leaders. Okay, those are the men that were in charge of schools of prophets. Samuel was in charge of the school of prophets, literally called the school of the prophets, or the sons of the prophets, I believe. Okay, Jeremiah was a leader of the school, and he had his contemporary, who was what they called, I believe what they call a minor prophet, was Baruch. Okay, it says in the scriptures that they were friends, they were associates. So they were around and they were in or around the same time period. If you follow the chronology of it, a lot of these prophets were around on the earth at the exact same time period. So these weren't men that were hiding out in the woods by themselves with a beard and just doing nothing, and people would come to them and they'd have something crazy to say. These were men that learned. These were men that had to study. These were men that had to apply themselves, much like you do today. What that should do, that should inspire you to understand that the men that you sit across from, the men you sit next to, the men that you fold chairs with and stack tables and speak on the streets about the truth with, are not slouches. You get my point? The men that were around of old prophesying together are back here today doing the exact same thing. So Isai and Jeremy, Isaiah and Jeremy, I'll double check to confirm on the Isai to be Isaiah, but it's those two prophets. All right, that's what he's saying. He'll send them back in the earth again, okay, to prepare the 12 tribes of Israel, which means what? The men that were called to do the work of the Most High and gather the 12 tribes before are back on the earth doing the exact same thing that they've always done. Are back on the earth doing the exact same thing that they've always done, which is prophesying, which is what you're seeing right here today, which is what you just saw, which is what the people of Toronto just saw in Toronto. The prophets of the Most High going out and doing what it is that they've done since time immemorial. All right. Any other questions? Go ahead. Sure, you want.
My question is on 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and 15. It talks about unbelieving depart, not depart.
Right.
My question is, how does that look in a practical sense?
Okay, let's read the first verse.
Verse 15?
No, 1 Corinthians 7 and 1.
So 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 1. Now concerning the things whereof he wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman.
Paul is speaking about marriage, the union between a man and a woman, which is established and continuously nourished through sexual intercourse. Okay? That's what it is. He's speaking about it. In the first few verses, he's saying he's speaking as a man. Skip to verse 10.
Verse 10. And unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord.
The Lord. The Most High is commanding this. Go ahead.
Let not the wife depart from her husband.
A woman is not supposed to leave her man. And for those of you that are listening in that don't quite understand, if you're having sex with a man now, that man is your husband in the eyes of God.
Right.
Not in the eyes of Justin Trudeau, not in the eyes of the Justice of the Peace, not in the eyes of the vile, children-abusing, coke-sniffing Catholic Church, but in the eyes of the one you call God. You two are together, joined tightly, like a plug in a socket. You two are locked in, as they say on the streets. Okay? So that's what this is speaking about. And he's speaking through the lens of the Most High. It is not good for a wife should not leave her husband, which is totally antithetical to what you're hearing today. What are you hearing today? A woman's 80 million excuses for why she should leave her man, which is asinine, because any man with experience knows that a woman loves you today and hates you tomorrow. and then loves you 17 minutes later,
Right.
and is clawing you 5 minutes later, and then intercourse, and then after the intercourse, and then you ruined it. You ruined it because you said something, and then this and then that, and then, God damn it,
Right.
we're going to lose our minds. So there is a reason. Let's take this carnally. There is a reason. I mean, I think every society has put a bound on what women could and could not do. It was highly regimented, and the Bible confirms that through what? Through the hierarchy. The woman, the head of the woman is the man. That is why the societies were so mean and they established rules, is because the heathen understood what we know through the Bible, which is that men are in charge of women. That's just how it works. You can get upset, you can cry, you can whine about it. That's the truth of the matter, the facts. The truth, the whole truth and nothing but it. Men are in charge of women. Christ is in charge of us. Yahushua comes down right now and asks for a cup of water, or that's something small, but says, go speak here. I'm going to go speak there. And that's how that works. How do I know it's through Christ? Because a man who follows Christ or Yahushua says you should go speak here. You should do this sort of thing this way in regards to the operation of your office. And I go ahead and do it. Why? Because there's a hierarchy. Respect the hierarchy. Okay? There's hierarchies in everything. Some musicians are better than others. Some boxers are better than others. Some men are better than others. Respect it. Okay? And that's the facts on that. So where were we again with the question? End of verse 10. So let's get to verse 15 now.
Verse 15. But if the unbelieving depart, let him depart.
Read verse 11. We'll go through 11 through 15 for you, okay?
Verse 11. But if she depart. Don't let a woman leave her man. Don't encourage it. Yeah, you should do it because you're unhappy, because tomorrow she might be happy. And it's asinine because, okay, why would you leave the man that you love and then go deal with the man you don't love, right, but you're just dealing with because you're upset at it? Right. It's asinine. And what you're going to find out, woman, is that it was a terrible decision. And if a man's worth half his salt, he's not going to take you back after that. But if she depart, let's say something like this happens. When would this happen, and when would I, as a priest ministering here, establish that? One is in the case of domestic violence. If you coming home and getting slapped upside your head every day, the Lord is not writing in the Bible that you should go and thou goest and gettest thine ass kicked. It's not in the Bible. Woman does not have to be beaten half to death because you're her husband and God said that you're over her. Okay, that's not how that works. The Most High is in favor of preserving life. He's not the God of the dead, but the living. Okay, and if he's emotional enough to put his hands on you, you are the weaker vessel. She is in real danger. So I would say you two should live apart for a little bit, and vice versa for a man. You got a woman she's a kung fu master. She's throwing knives and shit at you, stuff at you. Excuse my French. You want to go ahead and put that on ice a little bit. Go ahead and take a break. What will often happen is that she'll just go ahead and leave, because if she's throwing stuff at you, I get that they say the black women like to fight and the this and the that. She doesn't respect you. This is just real politic, straight up and down. She doesn't like you. Okay, she's going to throw stuff at you. That's generally the case. Or she's had such a terrible life. She's been raised so poorly. She thinks that that's normal behavior amongst family. What you have to do is stand like a wall, so that the wall that she runs into and understands that, no, that's not how this operates. We don't throw things here. That's not what normal human beings do. We don't throw pots and pans. We don't pour hot oil. We don't throw knives, right? We don't scream and toss stuff down the steps. That's not how a functioning relationship operates. You need to let her know that through strong frame. You need to let her know that through explicitly telling her what it is that you want laid down at the right times, okay? But if she depart, that's one reason. Another reason, this is for people in the world. If your husband is a member of the LGBTQ community, I give you full might and power in the Lord Jesus Christ and Yahushua to run for the goddamn hills. Why? Because he's going to get AIDS. He's going to get hepatitis A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z,
1, 2, 3. He's going to get the binary aids, the one, the computer with the zeros and ones. He's going to get the aids so deep it looks like a factory code in a computer. He's going to get the AI aids. He's going to get the chat GPT aids. It just morphs and changes and shapeshift. He's going to get monkeypox. Run. I give you full authority. Okay? Or I have full authority to establish that. And that's how that will be established if that comes before my office or my desk. You do not have to deal with a man whose member is covered in fecal matter from another man. Okay? It's a SHITTY situation all around. That's what I'd say in the call. Well, brother, this is a poopy situation. So let's just stay apart for a time. He's going to have to prove that's been kicked, because I'm not letting anybody get AIDS on my watch. I can't have that. It's a tough call. And what this should show, what I just said should show you that you don't want to sit in my seat. Don't want to be in the seat. Okay. The scriptures say this: be not many masters, for many things we offend in all. My job, 65 to 70% of my job is pissing people off. It's really what it boils down to, is telling idiots things that they do not want to hear, educating people about what it is I have to teach about the Bible that they largely don't agree with, and telling people who are on the highway to hell, you need to take the first exit. Okay. It is rough. All right. But if you are going to do it, these are scenarios where, in this case, a woman would be right to physically separate and remain unmarried. I will explicitly state that. Remain unmarried. Remain unmarried. TikTok. Remain unmarried. YouTube, Facebook. What does that mean? That doesn't mean you're taking a break and hitting the pit stop, getting a change, getting your groove back, as they say. No, Stella, you can't go and get your groove back when you're physically separated from your man for various reasons. All right? You can't go and do that. So she will remain unmarried. What does that mean? You will not go and have sex with another man while you two are separated. Another thing, if you're hearing from a woman, let's take a break, that's in many cases, not all, but in many cases, the break, the space is so that gap can be filled by another man. Okay. I don't mean to be explicit there, but you catch my drift. All right. Read on.
Let her remain unmarried.
Remain unmarried. Read on.
Or be reconciled to her husband.
Or be what?
Reconciled to her husband.
Yeah. The point of taking a break is not so that you can go and deal with another man, test the waters, and then come back to him. The point of taking a break is so that you two can come back together, be reconciled. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. You come back stronger than ever, better than ever. You separate physically so that you can be reconciled, or you remain unmarried. And that means for as long as he's alive, you will remain unmarried because you are still his. Read on.
And let not the husband put away his wife.
You don't put her away. What is putting her away? Putting her away is establishing that you are no longer with her, meaning you are totally rejecting her as your woman. How does that work? Does that mean you can't not answer her phone calls when she's being an idiot? No, you can not answer her phone calls. In fact, that's recommended for a time. Does that mean you can't withdraw attention or not come see her when she's acting up? No, you should do that when she's acting up. She has to know that there are boundaries that can't be crossed. Otherwise, how is she going to know how to treat you? And how are you going to be able to establish a precedent on how to be treated? That's not what this is talking about. What this is talking about is you telling her, I'm not with you anymore. We're not together anymore. I'm leaving you. Don't ever say that to your woman. Don't ever say that to your woman. Now, in regards to everything else, you have free range to say that, saying things like, this is how I want things to be operated. And if it's not operated this way, you're free to go. Right. You're free to go. The ball, in this context, the ball is put into her court. You get my point? But you don't come out of your mouth and say, oh, I'm going to leave you because my tea and scones aren't warm. What are you, 5? Marriage and life is war. You're going to have ups and downs. Paul said, nevertheless, there shall be trouble in the flesh. You're going to have fights. Don't be like a woman and just run off at the onset of any pain and suffering. Okay? Even in the world, they tell two people when they come to get married, before the justice of the peace, or before in the, this world, they say through sickness and in health until death do us part. Meaning what? You're going to have to stick through your wife through hard times, times where you cannot stand her. The sight of her makes you cringe, as they say. The sight of her makes you nauseous, like you were at a party in Spain and you've come down with monkeypox. Okay? You're going to have to stick with her, stand by her, fulfill your duties as a husband. All right? In whatever form that might be in your specific relationship. But no, you don't explicitly say the words, I'm leaving, I'm done, unless you mean it. Certain things you don't say to a woman unless that's it, unless you mean it. Now, if she's committed adultery, or she's you telling her to stay home, she's leaving, she's out late until 6 a.m. and then popping in, you know what's going on, man. There's no need to, you don't need to wait and watch and see the man on top of her and see your wife cheating cheating live, okay? Commit adultery in real time. You don't need to see that. I'm good. You're not listening to what it is I have to say. You're clearly dealing with another man. So we're going to go ahead and cut ties here. All right? Go ahead.
So if, let's just say you tell your woman that she's not allowed to talk about it.
Right.
Let's say there's a man trying to contact her, and you tell her that you don't message or say, I don't know, maybe say if he's in your DMs or something like that, say this is my husband or something like
A good woman. First of all, a good woman doesn't respond.
Right.
A good woman doesn't respond, and then okay.
So I'm wondering what do you do if she does respond and you've already said
You check her.
this is not okay.
You check her and ask her why she responded and see what she has to say. If she says, "Oh, I was just telling him no," and all that, I speak as a man here. If you don't have kids with her, I wouldn't plan on having any for a while. I'll put that on ice. I do it whatever it is you have to do. No abortions, of course. I know you can't take a plan B. Whatever it is you have to do to not get her pregnant if you're actively dealing with her, I wouldn't do that. Now, if you told her not to do this and she continues to do it, what you do is you withdraw the things that she likes. What does she like to do? Be with you, hang out. You just go ahead and just go give something else some love. Go show something else some love. She'll get the hint. She's not dumb. Women, they're naive, but they're not like, what's the word? Imbeciles. You get my point? They're fully formed adults. They understand when they've done something that you don't like, Allah, you don't contact them. You put a time period on it in your mind when you are ready to reach back out, you reach back out, or she reaches back out. You wait till maybe the second or third time she reaches back out and you reach back out. This is after the checking. The checking happens immediately. This. You talk to this dude. I told you not to talk to dudes in the DM. Just don't even answer them. And they keep going. You can block them, but I don't want that being done. That's not those type of women. I don't. Those type of women that do that, I don't deal with. Put it like that. Go do something else for a couple of days or whatever, then come back. If she sticks around, then she's made a mistake. If she doesn't, then you know that she was entered. What it was is those are the dudes she wasn't attracted to. That's what it is. And if she is, she's not going to tell you. That's my 2 cents on that. All right. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Shabbat Yahweh Shem Alpha Bashim Yahweh Shai. I.S.U.P.K Toronto live here from Toronto, Ontario. Smash the like button, smash the share button. All right. Let's keep going. We didn't get to your verse yet, right?
Verse 12.
Okay, continue.
Verse 12. But to the rest speak I, not the Lord.
Meaning this, Paul speaking as a man. This is his recommendation, which just so happened to make it into the Bible. So it is a very strong recommendation. Go ahead.
If any brother hath a wife that believeth not.
You have a woman that is in the world. That's what this means. Believes not. She doesn't believe in keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. She might be someone that celebrates birthdays or has celebrated birthdays and hasn't put it off. And pork, crab, shrimp, lobster, whatever. She's in the world. Okay? She believes not. She doesn't believe what it is you have to teach. Go ahead.
And she be pleased to dwell with him.
But if she's down with your program, if she's picking up what you're putting down, if she's dropping it like it's hot and you're picking it up like it's not, then you stay with her. Don't put her away. All right? Because she's down with the program. The issue is that she's not willing yet to put away what she's been taught by another man, essentially. What has to take place is she needs to be around you enough, and if she's pleased to dwell with you, what's going to end up happening is she's going to end up adopting your behaviors. Women will start adopting your speech, etc., etc. Okay, which is how you have societies anyway. Women follow and adhere to the God that the man over them establishes. Okay, so that's what generally happens. Okay, it's not very rare, but it's not a great sign long term if she's not willing to bend to any of your whims or any of your rules, because you're literally humbling her on a regular basis. So that's going to make her sort of cower, if you will, and bend to your will. All right, just by default. If she doesn't believe, don't put her away. Don't leave her. Okay, don't leave her because she's a Muslim or a Christian in the church, whatever. Don't leave her. Continue.
Let him not put her away.
Let him not put her away. Okay? Don't leave her. Okay? But she can't make you now shorten what it is that you believe in for her. So camp, you got to be clean for camp. I wouldn't be unclean for her when I go to camp or when I go to class, but when she goes to that church, listen. Disrespecting false gods. And that sucker unclean. Okay? Totally unclean. I speak as a man. It's not the Bible, but in any event, you get the point. The point is that you cannot allow her to separate you from your power. All right, which is what happened to Solomon. So you continue to do the things that you've done when you weren't around her. Okay? If she wants to live with you, if she wants to dwell with you, then let it be. Don't go in and try and start arguments, etc., to get her to leave. Don't do that. All right? Because you're ruining a perfectly functioning relationship. Read on.
If she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away.
Right? Go ahead.
Verse 13. And the woman which hath a husband that believeth not.
And now vice versa for a woman. If a woman has a husband that believeth not, and it makes for a different situation. All right? The husband doesn't believe. He's in the world. Go ahead.
And if he be pleased to dwell with her,
But he wants to live with her. He wants to stay with her in this relationship. Go ahead.
let her not leave him.
Don't tell her to leave him, which is, again, the reason that we say, I didn't head the class with this, but the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge is not affiliated with any Israelite group, Boy Scout group, church, cathedral, mosque, gang, crew, affiliation, association, football team, soccer team, FIFA, symposium, consortium, conglomerate, S Corporation, C Corporation, LLC, not affiliated with any of them. Why? Because there are some that are out there, including Christian pastors and people who call themselves Israelites, that will advise a woman to leave a man simply because of his religious ideologies. And when I say leave, I don't mean, okay, you two should live in separate places for a time, which I have done before. But I mean, you should no longer deal with him. You're free. You're now single simply because he believes in a different God. You shouldn't do that, man. You shouldn't do that if he wants to stay with her. You shouldn't tell women to leave, which is more often what happens. Why? Because the fools giving that advice are typically men, and they want to have sex with that woman. That's what it is. It's just a way of stealing a man's woman. All right? When you should be able to get your own. You're a big bad prophet, aren't you? You're a pastor. You're an imam. Be able to get your own woman. You're a man of God, aren't you? Is God not on your side? Do you have to be a weasel your whole life? A little weasel, a worm, a little earthworm snaking through the soil, popping your head up. Hey, is there any gonna come over here? He doesn't love you. Little prairie dog. I'm not a prairie dog. I am a lion, and I hunt. Go ahead.
The imam, this no woman they want. These little girls.
Oh, I forgot. Little 9-year-old girls. I forgot about Big Mo with the little girls. Big Mo is Muhammad, for those of you that don't know. Read on.
Verse 14. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife.
Why? Why shouldn't the man who believes not put away the woman that believes? And why should the woman that believes not leave the man that believes? Because you two are one flesh.
Right.
That's what the Most High says. When you come together with a woman and you humble her, or if you're a woman and you lay down to receive a man or what have you, you two become one flesh. You're bonded. And so what Paul is saying is that if one believes, then both are sanctified, both are cleansed. That relationship can function. That's what he's saying. It is viable. You don't have to leave. Why? Because you're cleansed. You're clean. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful because what Paul has established now is Paul has established a means of conversion. Whereas if you just went ahead and left her because her left toe has a bunion on it, or formed a bunion on it, or she is a Christian when she was a Christian when you found her. I don't know what the big deal is now. Or she's still a Christian for this period of time that we've been together. If you would just leave her immediately, it doesn't allow for time to take hold. Time, they say time is the healer of all things. I speak as a man. But with time, what you can do is slowly convince a person that your way is better. The best way to convince someone to change is to be the change. It's through action. Sitting a woman down and telling her, hey, listen, all right, you're going to eat lamb. You're not going to eat this, and this is like, she's going to hear, but it's like, remember when you first came into the truth, it blew the top of your head off. It did with mine. And I had a lot to learn. She's going to have a lot to learn, and it's going to be a long, arduous process. What does your woman need to know? That if she lays down with another man, it's over. I don't stay with women that deal with other men simultaneously. That's it. That one sentence is the most important sentence. Everything else will take care of itself. She's going to see you with fringes. She's going to find you online. You're going to tell her you're an Israelite, whatever, and then she's either going to get with the program or she's not. That's up to her. Go ahead, Brock Yellow.
So real quick, just like, so would it be fair to say that for a man trying to get a rib in the world, or a sister trying to get a man in the world, that there's not necessarily anything wrong with it, but it's not necessarily recommended?
Repeat that, Slocky. I was checking my phone. I apologize.
Okay. Would it be fair to say, like, for a brother looking for a rib in the world, or vice versa, a sister looking for a man in the world, there's not necessarily anything wrong with it, but it's not necessarily the most practical thing or recommended?
Okay. If you're asking me my recommendation for women, it's not unlawful. I can't sit up here and say you should or shouldn't do it. It's not unlawful. It's not unlawful to eat cheeseburgers. Now, if you are a diabetic or you have high blood pressure, do I recommend for you to go to Five Guys, have salt and pepper and cheeseburgers because it's not unlawful? No, you're going to drop dead. You understand? There's something called wisdom, which is the application of the law. There's a way there's the knowledge of applying it and having experience. That's what you need. So I can't give you a definitive answer. In general, what I would say is you should vet the woman that you're dealing with. The flip side, I've never heard this brought up as a question. Just because she's in the truth now does not mean you will not have a full-blown lesbian in a couple years. A full-blown whatever in a couple years. Don't ask me how I know. Okay, I'm giving you real advice. With a woman, either way, it's the test is the same. Don't shorten the test or make it like, oh well, oops, I don't have to run the same program that I ran when I didn't know the truth. The program you ran, the game, the sauce, whatever you want to call it, that you laid down, you got to lay it down whether they're in the truth or not. So you can't just, all right, she's in the truth, so I'll just whatever, I'll just come home, kick my feet up, won't grip her up, or do stuff that she likes, get her excited or whatever. Won't say, hey, let's go watch a movie. Hey, there's boats, let's go take a boat. I won't plan a surprise date. Hey, all right, get the kids here, what's going on? Get the kids, drop the kids off. All right, let's go out, let's watch a movie, let's get on a boat. You still have to do that for both, okay? And for both, vet them the same exact way, okay? That's another topic. I'm not going to get into that. But in any event, that's what I would do. Now, for a woman getting with a man that's not in the truth, again, it's not unlawful. I can't say you can't do that. Okay. Is it recommended? I wouldn't recommend it as much for a woman because, you're being humbled by the man, or the woman is being humbled by the man. So she is more apt to receive what it is that he has to put down, which is largely how women learn anyway. A woman you're talking to, her worldview, I kiss other women and I'm bisexual, this, that, or the third. She's 98% of the time, it's because a man she was with wanted her to do that. That's how that happened. A woman, it becomes a Muslim or spiritual largely through her interactions with men, positive or negative. That's how it operates. Why? Scripture say this: your desire shall be to thy husband, okay, and he shall rule over thee. It's native to a woman to want to cleave or be a part of her husband's program. Go ahead.
So sir. I just had that just last week.
You'll get it back. No sweat. Anybody else? Anything to add? Go ahead.
So like I don't know. So in the verse that we're reading is actually basically saying that with the love that the person that is in the truth is supplying and giving to the other person, that they could come and get a common ground and make this relationship last. Right?
Exactly. That's what would happen, and that's what Paul is allowing for, which your Christian pastor doesn't allow for. Go ahead.
I have my comment now. For sisters, what you're saying is definitely heavy because a brother can have 10 wives, no wives, 1,000 wives, right? A sister can only have one husband. If that brother's not coming into the truth, who's she gonna listen to? The Catholics know that one thing.
Eventually, yeah. It's not recommended. I'm a camp leader. It's not something I want to deal with.
Right.
Please don't do that. Sisters that'll come in, don't do that. For my health, right? I gotta get to sleep. I'd like to. I don't get a lot of sleep, but I like to get to sleep. Okay,
Right.
and yeah, that poses a big issue because you're a man telling her one thing, her dude's telling her probably another thing, which in many cases, if he's in the world, is terrible advice. And it makes for an issue, But yeah, that's my recommendations on it. It's not unlawful either way. For a woman, it's be careful, and it's questionable as to why you wouldn't want to deal with us. I would look at that. It's not in the Bible, but if that happens and then he leaves, I mean, you're not dealing with me. Salakia. So I'll bear that into consideration. There's men here in the class. I'm speaking to largely two men, so that's why I gave the recommendation I gave. You deal with a woman in the world versus a woman in the truth. It's the tests are the same. Okay, it's just with in the world, it's going to be a lot. There's going to need a lot more time to get her on your program. You're going to have to reiterate your program in terms of what you do and don't do more quickly and aggressively with her. Whereas a woman in the truth, there's some level of common ground, but I look at it all the same. I look at it any different. All right. Anybody else? Go ahead.
We recommend that before you ever marry a woman, get counsel from him. You can't do it, and if he doesn't approve it, that's something you probably shouldn't do.
It's something that you probably shouldn't do, but it's the count. If you call me for recommendations, I'm not giving you an order. You can sleep with her. When you are in child support court, though, you're going by yourself. I'm not going to child support court with you. Okay, so we'll take the calls. We'll do what we can do with the cash, but I'm not going to say I told you so because I'm not an idiot. But it's like I'm like, all right, well, that's what could potentially happen. Take the recommendations. At the end of the day, in regards to who you deal with as a man, it's up to you. You have a general template, general rules. You can't be a whore, meaning in today's day and age, just can't be a woman that you just like you can't at all take seriously. Certain professions, she can't be a prostitute or an escort or if she's a stripper, she's got to stop stripping. A gigolo, yeah, well, that's for a man, yeah, gigolo, whatever. So in regards to counsel and advice, yeah, if that's something you feel you need to get, yes, you want to be able, however, to establish wisdom in your day-to-day interactions, because I'm not always going to be there to be on the phone lickety split like that. You get my point? You want to be able to handle things as you see fit. Whether it's wrong or right, you handled it. If it was lawful what you did, who cares? Honestly, you call me back after it happens. Okay, I would have did this. I would have said this, not that, and then you get to fine tune your approach.
Right.
But your approach is going to be your approach. Like, I'm not going to tell you to be me. Don't be me. Like in terms of a carbon copy, and I'm not interested in making copies. So that's what I'll say to that. Yes, you should get a recommendation on it. You should get a second set of eyes if that's something that you're unclear on. All right. Next, or keep reading.
Verse 14. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife.
The unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife. Your relationship can be whole, like I said before. Go ahead.
The unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband.
The unbelieving wife is sanctified by her husband, vice versa. Go ahead.
Else were your children unclean.
Or else what's going to happen is your children are going to be unclean. So they're going to be liable to come under the punishment of the errors that your unbelieving husband or wife has committed. But that's not the case. If you have a woman that's not in the truth, she's in the world, you have kids with her, don't sweat it with the kids. Those kids are fine. Those kids are protected by the Most High. Those children are in the truth. Why? Because you are in the truth. And we know the truth is stronger than all. Wine, women, certainly stronger than a pastor in a three-piece suit who runs off when we ask him any real questions about the Bible. We were at camp today, for those of you that don't know what I'm referring to. We were speaking out in the street today, and there was an African pastor that came up to me, was trying to say that Christ loves everybody, the usual blah, 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 blah speech. He was getting upset because I was removing him from Christian soapboxing talk. They say, Christ is loving all. That's not in the Bible. Pull it in the Bible. I'm pulling precepts in the Bible and paraphrasing precepts in the Bible. And then I get up on the mic to start to speak because he lies and says it's the new covenant's for everyone. All right, this is enough. And go read Jeremiah 31 and 31, where it clearly says, new covenant with the house of Israel. Okay? And then he goes and runs off and continues to proselytize to his vile, drug-dealing, genocidal, maniac-filled religion. All right? And those are facts as well. So, yeah, in any event, the kids are clean. The children are in the truth. All right? And you'll teach them as they grow to follow your beliefs and not hers. But it will make for some issues. So what's going to happen is your presence, your guidance, what it is you have to lay down is going to have to be stronger, and she's going to have to see it as such. And she is going to have to understand the merits of believing what it is that you believe in. There are merits in it, You'll find a ton of crosses in prison. You'll find a few shields of David. You'll find a few headpieces like this one in prison. You'll find many crosses walking into the abortion clinic, walking into the homeless clinic. You'll find very few shields. Very few headpieces. Now we fall on hard times as well. I'm not saying we're infallible, but the Most High is with us because of what we do, and the Most High will be with our children as well because of what they do. So think of, you want to express to her all the things, and you pique her emotions with it, because they'll get more responsive to it. Think about all the things that the children will avoid, potentially being kidnapped. There's so many things that could go wrong with kids, accidents or what have you. Those things are far less likely to happen because of what it is they believe in. All right, continue reading.
But now are they holy?
Now they're set apart. Not only you still have your woman, but you've got your kids, and your kids are in the truth, 100% bona fide. All right, read on.
Verse 15. But if the unbelieving depart, let him depart. But
if the unbelieving, if they depart, let him depart. If someone doesn't believe what is you have to say and they leave, they're not with it. They're not getting down with your program. Okay? You want to like the ones that like you. You want to choose the ones that are choosing you. The man does the choosing. We know that in the scriptures. What a woman does is she stands there and allows herself to be chosen. If she's not allowing it, then let her go. Oh, if she says she wants to leave, open the door. Listen, I'll hold the door open for you.
Right.
And let it hit your backside on the way out. Okay? I would use different verbiage, of course. But yeah, if she doesn't want to be with you, you let her go. You can't build with somebody that keeps leaving the job site. You're trying to build a building. The building is your house, your family line. And she's constantly leaving. You trying to stack the bricks up. It's like, all right, I'm going to get somebody else here. Go ahead.
That scripture there, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 15, where it says, but if the unbelieving depart, let them depart. Can we use that in conjunction with Matthew chapter 10, verse 34 to 36?
Let's read it.
Oh, God. Matthew chapter 10, verse 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. Verse 35. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother.
Okay.
Verse 36. And the man's foes shall be they of his own household.
What were you trying to use this precept for?
In
Appreciate it.
conjunction with it's like conjecture. It's like with 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 15, where it says, but if the unbelieving depart, let them depart, meaning if they're not with it, let's not try to convince them.
Yeah, absolutely. Because yes, the Lord could potentially, can you use that precept to say that the Lord's doing it? Yes, he could potentially be removing someone from your life that is vile. All right, that doesn't want to be there. The most important thing is that they don't want to be there. Anyone that doesn't want to be here, we don't fight for them to stay. We're not. I don't recruit. Meaning, if you don't want to stay, there's no skin on my back if you don't want to stay. Good riddance. You know.
Also, you also use it with the scripture where it says, when you get a precept, so like, if that right, cut off your right hand.
Why is it so weird? Right? Why didn't you put it over there? I want one. Just take it on.
I don't say I don't touch food.
Oh. Okay. Slaki Brakel, I apologize for that. Go ahead.
I was saying, could you also use it with Matthew chapter 5, verse 30, where it says, and if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not thy whole body should be cast into hell.
No, I wouldn't use that as a precept because she's leaving here. She's cutting herself off. You're not cutting her off.
Right.
That's more so talking about if you have something, whatever it is, that is blocking you from coming into the truth, then you should cut that thing off. You know, typically it's what is called a vice. You want to cut that vice off. Okay. Keep reading.
That was it for the precept.
Yeah.
1 Corinthians chapter 7 and 15, but if the unbelieving depart, let them depart. A brother or sister is not under bondage in such cases.
So if they want to leave, they're free to go. So if you have if you're a woman in the truth, your man's not, he leaves, says he doesn't want to deal with you anymore, then yes, she's no longer bound by him. She is what the world will call single in this context. Vice, the same thing applies for a man. If you have a woman who doesn't want to get down with your program and she leaves, he's not bound to her. You don't have to go off and chase her and go on an odyssey. She said she's leaving. When people tell you that they're leaving, believe them. Okay? And then because you believe them, you don't ever say, I'm leaving unless you mean it, unless you committed adultery. You know what I mean? Is that it on that verse? Keep on.
But God hath called us to peace.
You're not under bondage. You don't have to continue to be with someone, to build with someone who keeps leaving the job site. You don't have to be with someone that's in some cases it may be because they are actively cheating, or rather committing adultery, salaki, in the case of a woman. And so they've fallen, quote unquote, out of love with you, which means all that means is their emotions have been piqued by another man. You don't have to stay with her and have her, hit you and stuff because she doesn't like you. Yeah, please. You're not under bondage in those cases. Okay? You're free to go. You understand? So the woman comes into the school and mentions that she has a man or was with a man. It's going to be vetted as to whether they're still together. If she comes into a relationship or you catch wind of the fact that she was very recently meaning like within like a month, 2 months in a relationship, you want to cool off with her, meaning you're going to slow down a little bit and let her talk about the relationship. And based on what she says, you'll be able to ascertain whether she's quote unquote over him or she's just getting back at him because she's mad at him. Don't be the dude she's using to get back at someone else because they're still in a relationship. All right. All right. Is that it on that verse? Okay. Any other questions? This whole class has been derailed by these beef patties. Who made these? Who made these? It's psychological warfare. You're trying to get us to stop teaching so she can see you more. To auditive. You're able to try one for these delicious beef patties. The class has been derailed partially because of them. I'm joking, of course. Any other questions? Mm-hmm.
I got it. So I can say.
Uh-huh.
Can I get a general breakdown on Jeremiah 6 and 7? And also, my question is, so I get Jeremiah 6 and 31.
Okay.
So I can say there's no 31. Jeremiah 5 and 31. So my question is, can I get a general breakdown? And also, when it says rule by their means, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
I can read it for you, sir.
Please do.
This is Jeremiah 5 and 31. The prophets prophesied falsely, and the priests bear rule by their means. And my people love to have it so. And what will ye do in the end thereof?
Read verse 26.
26, sir? Come on. Jeremiah 5 and 26. For among my people are found wicked men.
From among my people are found wicked men. The Most High is talking about the Israelites. His people. Among his people are found wicked men. Okay? And in today's age, as was the case back then, many of these men are in positions of power, are in charge. Imams, bishops, priests, etc. Black leaders, unk-wearing black leaders, Black Caucus, etc. Go ahead.
They lay wait as he that setteth snares.
So these people are laying wait, entrapping people, extorting people. Okay? And kidnapping people. Go ahead.
They set a trap, they catch men.
Continue.
Verse 27. As a cage is full of birds, so are their houses full of deceit. Therefore, they are become great.
And that's how this world is. In Satan's kingdom, like he said to Yahushua in Luke, the 4th chapter, if you do acts of service, of obeisance to me, all these kingdoms, this power I will give unto you. Okay, so in many cases, the great people of our nation are wicked, are evil, are disgusting. And you see that in the hip hop industry, man.
Right.
Hip hop is about to, I mean, I think that we're in rap music now. I genuinely think, I believe this from the bottom of my mind, that the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, the hip hop that's going to come out of here is going to be the only hip hop that's going to be out.
Right.
In terms of worldly hip hop, I speak as a man, maybe Griselda. Outside of that, and Jada, obviously Jada and Styles P, outside of that, it is hot air that's being pushed out of here. I mean, no, they're mumbling. You got this one girl telling us that her anus is brown.
Good night.
She's on an interview calling both her baby daddies, who are both in jail, St. Louis jail or whatever. Is looking horrible. Got chlamydia twice.
So I just said, just so exactly what I was going to say. Mm-hmm. One of her bars is she kind of STD. Like I heard you looking for a stud. I got the STD. All I need is you. And to them, that's a bar. But
I mean,
that's hot garbage.
Yeah, I think what it is if you keep playing something to someone, they'll think it's good music.
Right.
They just keep hearing it. These people are chosen. A lot of them are actors, but in any event, they're established because of how dumb they are. Like in our nation, the dumber and more wicked you are, the farther they try and propel you. Like Dr. Martin Luther King. Michael King, first of all, his doctorate, I believe, was revoked or challenged several times because he plagiarized his dissertation, and he plagiarized my I Have a Dream speech. I've dreamed that one day little black boys and little white girls will hold hands in hand. That wasn't even his speech. It was from another pastor back in the 50s. He didn't cite his damn work. They're asking us for sources. Nobody asked Dr. Martin Luther King for sources when he was at D.C.
If I'm not mistaken, he also plagiarized Gandhi.
Plagiarized the hell out of Gandhi, who was a failed politician, by the way. I might add that. Yeah, so that's what's within us. That's what they often do. They'll take the wicked of our people, or people who try to portray the wicked, and they'll raise them to high places in society. All right, go ahead.
So in verse 27, therefore they are become great and waxen rich.
They become rich because they're wicked. Okay.
Verse 28.
It's a shame that people like Sexy Red and whatever are getting airtime. But again, I'm working on God knows what. Graduate from, great schools, and there's no platform for a big platform for individuals such as myself. I'm not complaining.
Right.
I'm saying the obvious that there are a lot of very, very intelligent black people. They would just get on camera and say something normal. They're not in the truth, but they wouldn't say, hey guys, my anus is brown. Like, we needed to know, or we care. We do not care, Rocky Olive. I could not care less. Okay? What I do know is that chlamydia is not brown. Chlamydia is not pink either. All right? In any event, there's a lot of black people, Latinos, and natives that they could give a platform that would say something normal, but they avoid them like the plague, largely, and get on and bring these idiots up like Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer was the corny girl in high school that just found out, like, if you get naked, dudes will like you. You know what I'm talking? Everybody knows. Everybody's got a girl. Everybody knows the girl in high school that was like corny. She was kind of flat. She was typically in like a black school, or in a school like she's trying to be in the black circle. But the black people don't respect her because she's a cornball, and they rightly ascertain that. Okay, they do use discretion. Okay, those brothers and sisters in the world, and they ascertain that this woman's a cornball. And then what happens is either she takes a little bit of fame, or she sees, hey, men will at least acknowledge me if I post naked, and she started doing that. Keke Palmer is corny. I think she was defending. Who's she defending? Was it R. Kelly? There's a video of her in the Breakfast Club, I think, defending R. Kelly a couple years back. She's just a cornball. Why I said that, I have no idea. But in any event, they promote the wicked of our people. That was the point of saying that. So go ahead, Zubaji.
So just on that same situation with Keke Palmer, she promote R. Kelly at the same time, try to speak out against Trey Songz. And what you're saying is absolutely right. She is a cornball that you can tell she's not someone that ever had, for lack of better words, a real nigga in her life. Like, just a man. She never had a man. You can tell how she acts.
Yeah.
How she will destroy her marriage for a brother that has herpes. Now, she let the internet trick her into that trick bag of single motherhood. And she's going to act like it's all good, but in a few, her son or her daughter, I'm not sure if she has a son or a daughter, is going to look at her and say, hey, where's my father?
Yeah, it's going to happen. And she's going to give a runaround.
Right.
The children eventually don't believe.
Right.
Because kids already don't take their mom seriously. I mean, let's be real here. When we would have WWE tables, ladders, and chairs match back at my crib. And it would be going down. And, your mom says, hey, stop. We'd stop. You get quiet for a few seconds. Like, all right, she's not going to say anything. And we get right back to the same thing. But when Pops came in, oh, damn. Yeah. All righteousness came into that house. All righteousness and zeal came in. These are the best behaved children in all the land. Okay? So the kids don't listen to them as much as they're a woman. They can sense that they're weaker and can't do as much. So yeah. She's in for an interesting few years. I'll take another beef patty, please.
And so like I said, if I may,
Go ahead, please.
I'm not sure if like
Water.
I've been seeing memes on the internet saying the baby father for her husband who decided to leave her, he's left now. Now I'm not sure if that's true or not, but from what the memes are saying, it's like they're trying to say like they might go for full custody of the children, and it's just okay. Sisters get into this place in life where they. Salaki, no disrespect to any sisters, but our sisters are extremely gullible.
Very.
Just like anybody with a camera or microphone that seems popular, they'll just believe whatever they say. The sisters to a point in the world, especially worldly sisters, you can tell them that fire's not hot, and that the whole system is saying fire's not hot. They're going with it.
Yeah. Well, that's women, not just our women, but that's women in general.
Concept.
Because it had to be that way. It's hard coded because it had to be that way to survive. I can go to Western Ontario and just waltz around and survive much more easily than a woman could. So they had to depend on the group. That's why they think they're group thinkers. Like they don't think for themselves as much. This is why prophets, what have you, were men. Because men are able to think for themselves and are able to take, abject criticism, right, at the highest levels. They posted a sign saying no speaker here. It's a $5,000 fee. A woman wouldn't be able to handle that. She'd start crying.
Right.
You know what I mean? We can stand there and handle that. All right, who cares? We're going to train our voices, whatever. I will bust my vocal cord like an eggshell.
Yeah,
We'll
right.
stand out there to speak the truth of the Most High. It really doesn't matter to me. But to a woman, those sorts of things will crush them because they weren't built the same way. And that brother should go for full custody. And hopefully he wins. That's my take on it. Read on from where you were. Matter of fact, let's go down to verse 31. All right.
Jeremiah 5:31. The prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests bear rule by their means.
You get the first part, right? The prophets prophesy falsely. Yeah, they prophesy lies, like the camel jockey Big Mo. He didn't prophesy, but whatever he said that may happen in the future in that comic book called the Quran, it didn't happen. Okay?
Right.
It never happened. And it will never happen. Okay? The prophets prophesy lies, and the priests bear rule by their means. Meaning what? They bear rule or base their authority by what they see fit to base their authority in, which is a Movado watch or a Rolls Royce, or the fact that I've got 80 bajillion gamillion members of this church. Or their means is the Pope, the Imam, the Cardinal. That's their own means. They're not ruling by God's means. They were anointed by the priests of God. They didn't come stand before us. They didn't verify their lineage. And so whatever rule that they have is of their own means.
Right.
It's of the world. So whatever brings in more members or whatever increases your clout, if you will, in the world, that's what they use to rule. We don't use that. I don't come in here with stacks of cash on the table or claim that I have this and I have that, and because of that, you should follow me. I say that I am a man of the Most High, man of God, and I operate in the office that Yahawashi, the one the world calls Christ, is established, and that is why you should follow me and hear what it is I have to say under Yahawashi. Then yes, that's me ruling by the Most High's means, not by my own means. But if I say you should follow me because I do this and I have all this money, I have this car outside, look how much God has blessed me because of all these material possessions I have, or because I'm 6'10", or because I'm 5'1", then they're ruling by their own means, which is what the Christian church does. Okay?
So like you said, if I may.
Yeah.
So I believe I'm understanding it now. I've heard this before. Like we want, not us because we're in the I.S.U.P.K. and I.S.U.P.K. is the home of the truth, under command, and during the heart, right? But brothers and sisters in the world, especially brothers and sisters who go to church, they want to see their pastor, so like a fancy car, big watch, shiny suit, right? That's what I'm understanding from what we're reading. where, especially in this part where it says, the people love to have it so.
Yeah.
Right? It's like we want to see, like we're not, especially for, I'm gonna speak in general, black people, we like shiny things.
Yeah. The scriptures say Israel requires a sign.
Concept.
So they want to see gaudy and shininess and expensive things as a sign by proxy that you are following God. When God does not show who he's with or who his men are solely by material wealth. He doesn't.
Right.
There were some men in the Bible who were rich. That's clear. But a man of God chiefly is established by his ability to keep the commandments of God and to be a champion of the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay? But that's not what we love. We don't love that. And really, that makes the man who's broke or rich more valuable than the dude that's living by his means. A higher value man. Hate that word. But a higher value man than the dude with the Movado watch and the Rolls Royce and the this and the that. Nobody cares about that stuff, man. When you really get down to brass tacks, if you're not doing what the Most High says, what good is it? Because you're only going to have it here. When you could have it here now, because we're getting vans. That's as I breathe, and hopefully as the Lord liveth, we're getting vans. We're getting the building, and getting a building in this city would make us rich.
Right.
Getting a little building, even if it's a little building, a spot we can crash out. We can, if we all come down here, we can get beds or little mattresses we can bring or air mattresses and sleep in. Brother, we are in the game. We're in the ball game. We're in the zone now. You know, and I mean, if we could, not all of us, but we could pull our money together and buy a Bentley and buy a Rolls Royce. But for what? You know, what good would it do? Nothing. But bring in a bunch of cretins, you know, and vile beasts who only look at goodness in a man or qualities of virtue in a man based on his material assets. Okay. So that's the end of that. And then at the end where it says, what will you do in the end thereof? Meaning, okay, you like these dudes with gaudy, these nice watches or whatever, et cetera, et cetera. But what's going to happen when, you know, at the end, society breaks down? That little rapper, 110 pounds, can't forage. He don't know what it's like to be out in the deserts of Mexico, like my man Barakiala, you know, living off cactus, sipping on that agave, you know, sipping on that tequila. He didn't know what it's like. You know, and that's another thing too. Being in the truth forces you to not rule by your means. So what do? You're going to expand your skills, your skill set. You know, your skill set in the world, meaning your skill set, the skills that you have to operate and function in this world, and chiefly your spiritual gifts, patience, kindness, mental strength, which is what I'm going to get into. All those things will be built, and they will be built to a higher level than any pastor, any Catholic bishop, or what have you. All right, so that's it on that. Any other questions?
So, I'm just wondering about the last part of Jeremiah 23 and 14.
All right.
I'm wondering, well, basically, I'm looking for a breakdown where it says they are all of them unto themselves. It's like they are all of them unto themselves. And they have to say this more.
Okay, read the verse.
Comes Jeremiah 23 and verse 14. I have seen also in the prophets of Jerusalem a horrible thing. They commit adultery.
We know what that is, right? In this context, it's more so leaning towards following other gods, but it's also literal. All right, go ahead.
And walk in lies.
They walk in lies. God loves everybody. Jesus saves all. Christ is white. Christ doesn't have color. Pork is the other white meat. It's okay now because we have refrigerators. I want to hear a pastor say that pork, because where do these people get it from? Because I've asked people about, you know, why do you eat pork, whatever. They said, well, it's clean because, you know, you've got refrigerators now, so it doesn't get as bad anymore. When that doesn't make any sense. Go ahead, Sabaja.
So I can say every time I've ever heard pork is the other way meat, I just thought of some some nigga trying to sleep with a white girl. That's the only thing that's ever come to my mind every time I heard pork is the other white meat.
That's deep.
I don't even know chicken to be white meat. When I cook chicken, that shit is bad. Right? So like,
Well, hopefully,
I don't understand what
yeah, it's like a grayish. Yeah, chicken's like a grayish color. It's not really white per se. Well, yeah, it depends. There are dark cuts too of chicken. There's dark meat and light meat. I don't know which one's which, but whatever the thigh is, that one's delicious.
Right, right.
Chicken thigh, fried, is insane. So, yeah. If he'll eat pork, only the Most High knows what vile and decrepit things he's willing to do, which is part of the reason I can imagine why brothers like to lay down with, Edomite women, is because like they think, or maybe through their experience, they're willing to do anything. Here's the other thing that's not being mentioned. A lot of them are dealing with those types of women because they are members. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
And white, here's another fact that's not well known. Black women are far more feminine than white women. Even today, right now, today, far more feminine than white. White women are like little men. And they've been that way since Greek and Roman times.
Right.
Okay. So in many of these cases, these dudes are dealing with them because they're okay with a man being emasculated in bed, and they'll stay with him. Whereas a black woman's not going to do that, and is not going to put up with you not being a man. Why? Because they're a woman. Okay. So there's some snippets of wisdom on that. There's zero practical reason to do it when you think about it. A black woman, certain things she won't do it. She'll do everything that's orderly and that you allow. The issue is where have you been that you now need to be, poked and prodded and stuffed like a turkey, and you have to be spun around on a chandelier as a man. What's going on with you? So yeah, pork is not the other white meat. Chicken is delicious and lawful. All right. That's what I'll say about that. Jerk chicken, yes. So when it says they are all unto me as like, let's keep reading after lies.
They strengthen also the hands of evil.
Yeah, they'll give a pimp or a rapper or whatever a big spot in church, the biggest plate, the last piece of chicken, so you can understand, and the most clout. The Breakfast Club will interview your XYZ rapping idiot that claims he's a big shot killer, but when I.S.U.P.K comes and says, "Hey, bring Commander General YAHANNA on," or hell, bring Officer Abana on, they run for the hills. Nobody in Canada wants to see us or talk to us. But I thought we were all trying to become one, and I thought we wanted to understand each other, and I thought this was the age of talking and discussing and content. I thought you wanted to get good content. What better content would you have than having us on? When we get on your platform, we're typically one of the better performing videos, a la Captain Zariak on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, etc. Right?
It's a lot of that one. Just like the Black TV also interview anybody. But once every one of us could interview Commander General YAHANNA, bring Commander General YAHANNA, no response.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah, of course not, because he doesn't talk about shooting people or pimping women. Go ahead.
So I can say, if I was to break it down to a nutshell, this is just what I believe. It's the little hacks, like the little hacks. I'm assuming they run that channel, but
they run all those channels.
Yeah.
Remember when Kanye went on Revolt TV? There's it came out that they're owned by another parent company, which is owned by them. And I'm going to sidebar, but we'll get back to it. That's another thing as well. Okay, most of these videos that you're seeing with like wild, crazy reactions between like men and women, and she did this. Most of that is fake. Most of that's totally scripted. I don't believe most of what I see on the video. I get that we have to break it down and teach from the Bible and all that. That stuff, that's not real. Okay, how are you perfectly in the middle of a shot when this is happening, and you're just I'm gonna do some horrible thing to my husband, or I'm gonna videotape myself cheating or whatever. It's not a lot of that stuff is not real. It's fake. Also, these big promoters, and they've pushed it. Yeah, you can get big on Instagram, whatever. A lot of these big accounts are run by Disney. I'll just be frank. They moved from cable television, because remember, there was cable TV before this. Where did they all go? They don't mention that. What's happened is they're Revolt TV. They are Drink Champs, which is Revolt TV. They are Breakfast Club, etc. They just bought those companies out. They did it quietly, and now it's just the same thing. All right? Go ahead, Zabaja.
concerts, just to add to what you're saying, like especially with the reality TV, ever since the writers' strike from the Writers Guild happened a few years ago, you see a boom of reality TV. And how is the sister catching the baby father or the husband coming out the car with the Big Mac right when he comes out the car? You just had your phone open?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
knew he was gonna do that?
Yeah, it's like not real. Most of that stuff's not real. I don't believe any of it. I don't really follow any of it. I follow it as much as I'll ask you guys about it, or I'll watch it to break it down in class, but like could personally not care less. That's it on that. Let's keep reading. Evildoers, after evildoers.
They strengthen also the hands of evil,
Right.
that none doth return from his wicked.
Yeah, that's a big reason as to why many women are acting the way that they're acting, because they're strengthening them. Some African, some Sudanese cat, and some durable looking West Indian will give these broads a platform, a la Fresh and Fit, where they're interviewing, I mean, just the grimiest of women that they'll find waltzing around in Miami, frolicking. I'm sure they're there to make beef patties, frolicking through the sand and being good virgins, ADR. They scooped them up. They scooped them up and scraped them up from every groveling corner on the streets of Miami, and pay them also. They're not native. They're not just, hey, bring them on the strength of the sauce, on the strength of the ism, as they say. They're bringing them on by the strength of the almighty dollar. That's what they're doing.
Right.
And so they'll have these broads on, and these broads will get plenty of airtime. But nobody's walking up to, say, the nurse in your local city, going upstairs, meeting the aunt, Sister Nancy, Aunt Nancy or whatever.
Right.
Or Ethel and them. You know what I'm saying? A girl that just came over from Jamaica is not inundated with Canadian or American culture. They're not interviewing them, slapping a camera in their face. The Levite that worked from, Montreal Nord to doctors. There's women in these cities, man, that are straight up like powerhouses in the sense of they make a lot of money. They came from the same blocks that we came up in. They're not getting press,
Right.
They strengthen the hands of evildoers. Same thing with the rappers, etc. And so because of that, because they're being given a platform, now regular women, these are regular women that haven't had training run on them or what have you, had a good father, good mother, are trying to act like hood broads. Essentially, just without the accent, meaning I'm going to weigh my options and I'm going to play like I don't play like a dude and then do the whole the games or what have you, cancel this, cancel that, make you wait for these sorts of things. Come on, man. No, that's happening because the hands of the evildoers have been strengthened. Therefore, nobody departs from their wickedness. Young kid's not going to stop shooting people. Why? Because he might get a rap contract. He's not going to stop selling drugs because people think that makes him cooler. And so now he can get a rap contract. Read on.
They are all of them unto me as Sodom.
They're all unto me as Sodom. So they are all members. The Most High. Modes. Fudge packers. Carpet scrapers. Plastic provocateurs to the Most High. It's the one you call God.
Right.
Go ahead.
He compares them to.
He sees them as the same. He sees them as the same. The precept for that is if you offend in one, you offend in all. In James, so I think it's James 2:10. You commit one sin, you've committed them all, you've broken them all, you're liable. You're just as bad as everyone else. All right? Go ahead.
And the inhabitants thereof as Gomorrah.
As Gomorrah. So he's comparing them to Sodom and Gomorrah. Corrupt people full of members. All right. Any other questions?
So it would be a correct statement to say a pastor is part of the LGBTQ just because of the false.
You haven't heard me say that? Like, you didn't hear me say that the last time we had camp till they called the cops on us?
Correct.
I said the Pope is not the vicar of Christ. It's my line. The Pope is not the vicar of Christ. The Pope is the vicar of the gays.
Right.
That's a true statement. And with the pastor, you can say the same thing. He's a member. I wouldn't say he's a member. I would say he spawned the LGBTQ community in the Americas. Why? Because the main source of child molestation was the church. I remember hearing about the church. It was Boy Scouts and it was school with the women teachers fondling the kids.
This is why I love the UPK, because the UPK under Commander General, right? If a brother is a part of that community, he's not coming into the building. He's not going to be in the class, right? You got to work on your demon online. right? In the church, from what I've seen in Canada, and listen, I've lived in hell a long time. They ultimately, when that community was able to, what they think is a marriage, and say they're married, the church was, not to say the first, but a good portion of the churches went along with it. And
Yeah.
basically said, for the 501c, they will marry that community.
Yeah. So it's awful. Yeah. But yeah, they're the fathers of it, author of it.
No, son.
Go ahead.
I have a question on it's in the same chapter, as a matter of fact, Jeremiah 43, verse 19, where it says, "Behold, a whirlwind of the Lord is gone forth in fury, even a grievous whirlwind. It shall fall grievously upon the head of the wicked." Is it talking about a chariot, like whirlwind?
Yes, but in the physical world, you would see that as a whirlwind. So imagine wind whirling around and falling on the head of the wicked. What are you saying in your mind right now? You should be saying as a tornado. This is a scripture about tornadoes in the Bible. It falls upon the head of the wicked. It conveniently hits the Midwest, where the Native Americans had there's a world famous fight with the Great Plains Indians. The Great Plains Indians, when you think of Gad, what you see in your mind is a Great Plains Indian. That's what you're looking. That's what you see. That is the Gadite. Long straight hair, copper colored skin tone, stern face. I mean, a fresh guard, fresh as hell, because the feds were watching. Cavalry at that time, but the feds were watching. That was like 2 Chainz. The feds were watching. You know what I mean? They were fresh as hell in a garment. You know, so they had a famous war with them. And where are the Great Plains Indians now? They're not there. They've stuffed them into Oklahoma, Dakota, and Western Canada with more diabetes-inducing wheat bread than you can imagine, and more beer than a Stone Cold Steve Austin memorial or reunion, rather. Okay, so yeah, it falls upon them. That's why they get hit with tornadoes like that. Gigantic tornadoes come through, and there was one tornado. I forget which one this was. It might have been Joplin. It destroyed the white part. It was one of these recent tornadoes. Just went through and just ravaged the mayonnaise section of the town, and did not touch the chicken and watermelon side. All right? Mysteriously, of course. It's not mysterious because the Most High is directing these storms. These storm patterns in certain areas, different storms are more likely to happen than others. So tornadoes typically happen in the Midwest. They've happened. And so because of that, that's what's used upon them in the Midwest. Now, a different whirlwind, something similar, is a hurricane or a cyclone,
Right.
which is what we called in the Southern Hemisphere, because it moves in the opposite direction. I think hurricanes go clockwise and cyclones go counterclockwise. So you see you see something whirling like this pattern, it's a cyclone. This pattern, I believe it's a hurricane. It might be flipped, but I believe this is a hurricane. They spin clockwise. In the Southern Hemisphere, they go counterclockwise. All right? Different names say it's the same storm. A lot of water, a lot of wind. And it goes upon the head of the wicked. All right? You understand? Any other questions? If not, I'm going to get into my topic, which is mental toughness. All right? I'm going to go into mental toughness today. What it is a lot of people talking about it. I at least have heard it a lot in the circles that I follow or check out, the content I check out. And so I'm going to talk about mental toughness today. Mental toughness as a man is garnered and gained through reduction. Reduction. Everybody's talking about adding. Everybody's talking about multiplying and building. But no one's talking about reduction. Nobody's talking about destruction. And nobody's talking about division. But as we know in the Bible, Yahushua, one the world calls Christ, and the Most High, they're all about division. Christ said he came not to send peace on the earth, but a sword. And I come to set at variance a man against his father, mother-in-law against the daughter-in-law, etc. Okay? So the key to getting tougher mentally is in reducing. How do you gain the ability to cast out certain demons and cast out certain demons in yourself? Fasting. Fasting is reduction. That's what it is. You must what until the end? Add till the end? No. Endure until the end. You must remain. Stay. Being consistent and reducing things is what makes you mentally stronger. Going without, which is also a reduction. All right? Let's get Hebrews 12 and 1. Someone else hold Psalm 9 and 7. So Hebrews 12 and 1. Someone else grab me Psalm 9 and 7. You have questions online, type your questions in. Brock, y'all, I'm going to cut the live here on Montreal. I don't know if this is your phone, but there's nobody in.
So like I said, what was the Psalms?
Psalm 9 and 7. Matter of fact, I'm going to keep it on. Somebody just came in. I'll just keep it on. You start. Hebrews 12 and 1. Go ahead.
This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 1. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses.
Wherefore, seeing we are compassed about with a great cloud of witnesses. We have many references that we can go to for many different events that could occur in your life. You want to know about this. You want to know about that. Business, family court, starting a family, raising a family, having children. There's somebody you can call in the school that will be able to run that down to you. We have a great cloud of witnesses. We have many people around us that have lived and walked in the truth and are able to expound upon you the mysteries that you have in your mind. All right? Read on.
Oh, God. And let us lay aside every weight.
Let us lay aside what?
Let us lay aside every weight.
Let us lay aside every weight. You understand? Let us reduce. Coming into the truth is a process of reduction and then addition. Putting off, which I'm going to get into in a second, and then putting on. Continue.
And the sin which does so easily beset.
And the sin which so doth easily beset us. There's sin everywhere. Sin is easy to find in this kingdom. Prostitutes, weed on every corner, simps, etc. Thieves, liars, cheats, scammers. They're everywhere here in this kingdom. Read on.
Let us run with patience into the race that is set before us.
So we've put off this weight, and so now we can run this race. To play this game called life, to be able to be in it for the long haul, as they say, you have to be able to reduce iteratively, which means I've gotten rid of this. I went for a period without doing this or whatever. Now I need to go through that again, and that could be anything. Reducing time spent on your phone. You eat you eat desserts every day. You have a drink every day. Be willing to go without it for a time. You eat this food every day. Change it up. Or eat no food. Okay? Right. Just have water. And that's the same for the body. The body heals. Body regenerates as a man. I'm speaking for men as adults through reduction. Now, children, and in some sense, women, not as much, but children for sure grow through addition. They need to be built up. That's why they don't fast during the Day of Atonement. Why don't they fast? Because that's not their battle right now. Their battle right now is to grow, right? You see that literally, you'll see that play out in their body. Grow, they'll get taller, they'll get bigger. Their knees and their ankles will start to crack when they walk. It's a sign of a growth spurt. Their voice will start to deepen if they're a man. Women will get taller, etc. as well. Their hips will develop. They'll begin to wave their neck attitudes at you. They're growing. They start to become women. Okay? So that's what it is for children. Okay, and partly for women. Women also benefit from reduction, but in great sense, women grow through praise. Another thing I would recommend, if you see something that your rib is doing that you appreciate, you should verbalize that to her. It means nothing to you, and it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing to me whether I get any recognition from the greater nation of Canada for my work, for my service under YAHWH or not. I could care less.
Right.
If no one congratulated me today as they didn't when I came up here, wow, you drove from Philadelphia. That's a long time. You drove 10 hours. You're going to drive 10 hours going back, in the situations or circumstances that you're in and have been in. Well, let's give you a medal. I don't need it. Getting the work done, fulfilling the mission, seeing, mission accomplished, like getting through a Grand Theft Auto mission is what fulfills me. But a woman, right? That's how I see. That's how I see life. That's how I see what I'm doing here. Like a goddamn Grand Theft Auto video game. Mission accomplished. Rep plus 20. Rep keeps going up. Cash flow. A little loud. Okay, it keeps going up. Strength, everything, speed. Hair growing everywhere. So, yeah, a woman doesn't grow that way. A woman grows through praise. So you see something she's doing that you like, verbalize it. You don't have to do it all like 8 times a day, but relative to what your relationship with your woman is. So if you only compliment her like once a week, she does something that you like, says something that you like, say, I really appreciate that you did this. Or I appreciate that you did that. Or congratulations for doing this. Congratulations for doing that. To me, it means nothing. All right, I'll say it. To them, it's like, and you'll hear it in their voice. The voice will go up an octave or so. And they'll say, thank you. The long you. They're like, all right. Yeah. You. With the emoji, or they'll throw the angel emoji, or the emoji where the eyes are looking down, the closed are looking down. I got a couple of those recently. I'm like, still in the game. I still got it. Okay? But in any event, I can go off on a tangent all day. Let's stick to the class here. Let's keep reading from where we're at.
God. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2. Look into Jesus.
Hold that. Let us lay aside every weight. When you lay aside those weights, reduce. Now you can run. You want to consistently grow in life and accomplish the things you want to accomplish in the truth, etc. You have to be willing to reduce. Reduce what? Weight. Things that are laying you down, that are weighing you down, that are distracting you. You want to minimize it. Okay? Whatever that might be, whether it be literal, whether it be spiritual. Remove it so that you can run, so that you can constantly grow. Reduce it. Be able to go without food, without water, without, TV, without checking the phone every 5 minutes, which is, something I believe we all have to overcome at some point, because it's addictive, especially if you're on Facebook. Some that I reduced is Facebook. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not on Facebook anymore. All right. I get on every now and again, but I'm not really on it. I don't have the app on there. I don't have my account on there because I had the app deleted for like a year, and that was because it was taking up too much time from the things that I wanted to do. So to free up more time, I reduced it, got rid of it. And you should do that. You should definitely do that with social media, because they've made it to be addictive. And so when you have a force that was made to be addictive, you have to be able to control it so that you can bend it to your will. And then you'll be able to absolutely bend it and bend people to your will. If you can control yourself, you can control someone else simply, easily. All right, let's continue reading. Let's get Psalm 9 and 7.
So Psalm chapter 9, verse 7. The Lord shall endure forever.
But the what?
The Lord shall endure forever.
He shall what?
Endure forever.
Endure. The other side of it is being consistent. You know how this school is going to grow? Through consistency. That's it. It's nothing else. There's no magic blueprint. There's no let's go viral here. None of that's going to happen. But what will happen is this: we'll be consistent, and through our consistency, someone will pop through those doors, man or woman, and then more people will pop through the doors. Then more people, and then we'll have the issue of getting a big enough venue. Then we'll have the issue of finding a building. Then we'll have the issue of where to park the van that we have. Right. Then we'll have the issue of bringing in furniture into the building and having enough folding chairs. I may have to drive to Montgomery, Alabama. They know all about folding chairs. Right. Get the specific folding chair, etc. That's going to be the issue. Then it's going to be, there's not enough maple syrup. Another thing I haven't had up here is pancakes. I'm interrupting council next time. Hold the presses. I've had it. I'm putting cases on all you MFers. I'm saying that right, pointing to the screen, pointing across the screen like you guys are there. I'm putting cases on all you MFers. Sir, I haven't had a bagel. Did you know that the gang chick is in Montreal, and I have not put her in my crosshairs?
Montreal, Toronto, we got to do better.
Yeah, Montreal, Toronto needs to do better, General. And it's my fault. I'd say it's my fault. Like I'm moving. Okay, they need to see me daily. I need to annoy them daily until they find all right, sir. Yes, the gang girls in our city too. Like, thank you. You get on the first. What's that? The Go. The Go, the train, whatever the train's called, the Go or the Canadian Rail. See you on the Canadian Rail. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, see you guys later. Au revoir. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, go ahead. Most High in Christ.
In our defense, Montreal was canceled.
Ah, it was.
No excuses. No excuses.
Yeah. Psalm 9 and 7 again. Let's read it.
The Lord shall endure forever.
The Most High shall endure forever. Endurance. Being able to be consistent in something. If you want to, let's say on a lower level, you want to lose weight, or you want to build muscle as a man, or whatever. You want to get better at reading, or you want to get better at construction. You want to get better at singing, or you want to get better at fighting. You got, kickboxing, whatever. Writing, poetry, rapping. The only way to get better at it is to do it every day. Do it regularly and consistently. Like going in for the gym, for example, going into the gym and working out for 8 hours, and killing yourself, it actually means less over a long term than coming in once a day for 45 minutes, once a day for an hour. The boring stuff. The boring stuff is where legends are born. All right. Ronnie Coleman went into the gym and did the same thing for years and became a legend. Muhammad Ali became the most prolific heavyweight boxers in history through what? Jab, cross, hook. There's not much to do in boxing. There's really not much fundamentals. There's only so much you can do. Jab, cross, hook. He just did that for years. Jab, cross, hook. Jab, cross, hook. John Jones, the same way. Wrestled. Went through some form of repetition, etc. Consistency, enduring is a masculine quality, and enduring, staying strong, is how you grow in the truth and obtain more mental strength. Being able to endure. Right. Being able to be in a situation that is racking your mind 18 different directions, but being able to have a task that you can focus on and focusing solely on that task and doing what needs to be done to get that task done. Because one of the issues with the mind is that it is very powerful. So what can happen is you can think about things and scenarios that aren't actually happening. Meaning there may have been an argument between you and a friend or a loved one. Okay? Thinking about the argument all day is asinine because there is no argument anymore. The argument's in history. It's forever etched into the sands of time. You will never get that argument or that time back. So are you now going to waste more time thinking about it? I think not. I think you should endure, as the Most High endures forever. Read on. Psalm 9 and 7.
He hath prepared his throne for judgment.
He prepared his throne for judgment. Continue.
Verse 8.
Drop that. Give me, I want Ephesians 6 and 11 and Ephesians 4 and 22. Now, you've put it off. You've put off sins or the vices that you have. You put off carelessness. You put off lack of professionalism. You put off criminality. Put those things off. Now, this stage in the truth, you're now ready to put on. Put on what? Masculine qualities. Qualities of professionalism, kindness, benevolence. All those things are professional qualities. It's how you should treat people. Okay? And being in an office, right? An apostle or what have you, today known as officers, captains, and generals, you have to be professional. You have to have skills, gifts. All right? And everyone's gift is different. Everyone's not going to speak like I speak. All right? Or read how I read. But I won't be able to ever be able to do some of the things that you can do as well, or the same way that you can do them. All right. So that's something that's very important to keep in mind. And so at this point, you want to putting on, reduce. It's a reduction, then an addition, reduction and an addition. You're constantly moving. Otherwise you die. You lose progression and you live a life that's, a life of mediocrity. Read Ephesians 6 and 11.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 11. Put on the whole armor of God.
See this? You put it off. You cast it off of you, right? You put off the old conversations according to the flesh, etc. Put on the armor of God. Go ahead.
That you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
So that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. You first are putting things off of you that are devilish, that are demonic, that are against what the Most High wants. Now you're putting on armor, on strength, on qualities that will that will not allow you to fall in the first place. That's what it is. And those qualities that you put on, that armor that you put on, it would it's on some level, what it is you're alchemizing a vice that you had. I'll give you an example. A cat with narcissistic traits, or a cat with an addiction, if that energy is steered in the right path, could be a monster. All right. There are many stories of functioning alcoholics that go on to run Fortune 500 companies, etc. Why? Is it because of the booze or the coke? No, a lot of people get that twisted. They say, "Oh, it's because he did coke. We should do coke for productivity or Adderall." It's none of that. It is because he has something in him that drives him to obsess over something, which drives what? Consistency. You see where I'm going? So in the truth, what you have to figure out is, what is it that makes you tick? And you alchemize it and you transmute it into the truth. So I like to gamble. I'm not saying I like to gamble, but I like to say I like to gamble. Then what that would translate to is doing things that are high stakes, potentially risky, within the truth. Searching, looking, constantly moving, doing things that require a high level of activity. Like we have a building, you're working on the building, looking for a building, or you're going to new lands. If you like to take risks, you're not risk averse. Go ahead, Adiyar.
So I just wanted to ask, like, when they say that you put off, like basically the old you.
Yeah.
Can we use that with Genesis, where it says they were naked and unaware? And once you understand, when you put on this armor of God, can we use that with the fact that God told us, you understand, with the skin, you understand, with the skin?
The culture, yes, that would be the armor of God. The fig leaves, which is the culture of the Most High, yes. Did you finish Ephesians 6 and 11? We're reading Ephesians 6 and 11. It's water for everyone that tuned in. Like, share, subscribe. Are we not posting the sign-in link anymore? Yeah. If it's not being done, make sure to post a sign-in link in every class. Sign in and sign out. Because there's a sister, I believe, in Canada who's trying to do her 90 days. So let's post that link. All right. All right. Ephesians 6 and 11.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 11. Put on the whole armor of God.
Put on the whole armor of God. Put it on. You may be able to withstand the wiles of the devil. Drop that. Let's go to Ephesians 4 and 22. It's the last verse I'm going to have time for. I want us to get out of here before our rental's up. All right. Those of you that tuned in, I appreciate you greatly for tuning in. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're live on TikTok. I.S.U.P.K Toronto, live from Toronto, Ontario. Go ahead.
Ephesians chapter 4, verse 22. That ye put off concerning former conversations.
See that? You're putting off concerning former conversations, which is what? You setting up a robbery, or setting up sell drugs or to steal another man's woman. All former conversations. Go ahead.
The old man.
The old man. Continue.
Which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust.
Which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust. Putting it off. Read on.
Verse 23. And be renewed in the spirit of your mind.
And be renewed in the spirit of your mind. Continue.
Verse 24. And that ye put on that new man.
You do what?
Ye put on that new man.
Putting it off the old, out with the old, and in with the new. It's always reduction before addition. Reduction, addition, reduction, addition. Putting off the new man and then putting on the new man. A new way of thinking, a new perspective that is in line with the Bible, with what the Most High teaches. All right, continue.
Which after God is created in righteousness.
It's after God is created in righteousness, man. In righteousness. Okay? Reduction and addition. And this process continues. Like I said, it's iterative. So you're constantly removing things that pop up, or things you didn't know, seeing yourself, and adding new things that are in line with the Spirit of Christ, in line with what He wants done. Which is what? For Blacks, Latinos, and Natives to rule, for his kingdom to be established and for the will of God to be in effect on the planet Earth. With that being said, we're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street. That concludes this class. This class, I.S.U.P.K. Canada, specifically I.S.U.P.K. Toronto, live from Toronto, Ontario. I'm Priest Officer 5000 Aban here at the helm. Here at the helm, we're going to have camp and camp specifically in Toronto for the time being. Make sure you check out I.S.U.P.K. Montreal, I.S.U.P.K. Montreal on TikTok, IG, Facebook, and YouTube for content in French as well as in English. With that being said, I'm gone. Shalom.
Now we know.